hosting a Southshore Chamber After Hours event at the Ruskin Moose Lodge over on Shell Point Road at 5:30 until Pig Chili's are going to be out there with his barbecue, and the Moose Lodge is going to donate 2 drink tickets to everybody. 1 or 2?
2 drink tickets. What else? Rick right there in that same little paragraph there. Who's providing the food there?
I said it.
I'm so sorry, I didn't hear it.
I can't read that they're.
Is it time for a hearing aid now?
It's the second one this week.
Yeah, there you go.
There it is. Keep walking. Keep walking.
So if you guys get a chance in your neighborhood, September the 3rd, swing on by there. Help us support. That way we can show the community what we're doing. That way it helps Dad go out and get more sponsors. My God, he needs all the help he can get because that mouth is only going to work so much. On September 14th and 15th, we have the Florida Sportsman Show that we're doing as well. If you guys want to help out with our booth, make sure you get with Dad and let him know which day. If you want to just do an hour, a couple hours, let him know. Give him the date, give him the time. If you want to do both days, all day, whatever it is. We usually have a good time in those booths. I'm going to have my little cooler in the back with some adult beverages, so make yourself at home. Because that's the only way to get through some of that stuff once in a while.
I think
But it is a good
South
time because we're
Carolina.
also going to have the golf cart out there. Ron's golf cart for our tournament in October is now going to be a 12-foot golf cart. It's one of the long ones. Yeah, that he's going to do tricked all out. I know he sent me a picture of one. We're going to see if we can possibly get the T-top that was on the picture. They have a T-top for golf carts with the rod holders on the back. So we're going to see what the Sanchez boys can do to help us out with that and really deck it out.
What size booth are you going to get?
I don't know. Look at my dad card today. It's a 12-foot
Boot's
golf.
only 10 by 10, so.
I don't know. We'll probably park, believe it or not.
A little Southshore Angler math right there.
Yeah, I know, right? We'll probably, if it's too big, we'll probably take it over to the Sanchez's spot.
Yeah.
Stick it over there. And that way, we'll let somebody stand over there and talk about the tournament and everything. Mir Lore was gracious up with Matt's help. Greatly appreciate it. Mir Lore sent us some new products for the tournament. Dan, what were those new products he sent us that are doing?
Suspending dates, they're all new, right, Matt? When I say new, they're
And Little John's.
and some little
Soft
guys.
baits by Little John's, which are very productive. And the Mirrodine's been destroying fish for a couple of years.
But it's
The top shelf product. from
Yeah, but they're new
Wasn't-
flavors of
Yeah, new colors that I haven't even seen yet. I was looking through the box, just kind of
The
drooling.
purple with the flake in it, looks like that would even work in freshwater.
Look, they had a lure for years. People may have heard him called the Purple Demon. And it was a dark purple, and it looks that color. And that Little John bait is unbelievable for soft plastic bait. I would definitely have them ready for this tournament coming up, for sure.
And the other piece of it is, it's the first time I've seen scented on the bags.
Yeah, that whole new line of soft baits has all been scented. And unlike most soft baits have been over the last few years, using a word called one and done, one fish and done, they're very durable baits, worth the money all day long. My go-to lure. I get nervous when we get low in inventory.
I would. And then, of course, we have October 4th and 5th is our redfish tournament. The 4th, the captain's meeting is going to be here. We're still in the process of getting it together. Hopefully we'll have a band, some other things go on, possibly a live auction, or some things to auction off. That way we can raise as much money as possible for one voice. And then on the 5th is the actual tournament. And like I said last time, we're not doing the overnight where the tournament starts at the end of the captain's meeting, because it tends to, some people can't fish at night. And for the past 2 years, every winning fish has been caught at night. So we're going to make it fair. Check-in's going to be at 6 o'clock, right here. So you got to put your boat in, check in, and then weigh in is again at 3 o'clock here, back here in the back marina, not the front marina, back marina. They said we can sit there as long as for the rest of the day, tie our boats off, the whole 9 yards. They have no problem with it at all. That way we can do the weigh-in, do the whole award ceremony, do the raffles and everything else. So we're going to
have entertainment.
Yeah, and entertainment. And CCA is going to be the official judge of it all. They're going to be giving you a measuring device with a token. It's going to have, everybody's going to be narrowed down to a specific number on their token. You're going to have a digital camera. You can't use your phone because they're going to ask you to take the card, they're going to insert it into their computer. That way they can really zoom in and get the exact measurements. So when you take that picture, you got to be directly over top of it as always. None to the side or leaning or anything like that. They've got to be able to see the whole picture. And their decision is final. That way it gives Dad one less thing Dad has to worry about, one less thing my mom has to worry about, one less thing I have to worry about, so possibly I can go out and fish this tournament this time. Prizes, you want to go over prizes? For tournament?
Prizes. I talked to Sean yesterday. The last 2 years, I've had a 10-foot trailer that I can haul the carts around. Said I got to find another trailer to use because the trailer's going to be, the golf cart is going to be 12 foot long. So I don't know any more than that, other than they've got it painted. He's waiting on a part from the club car, and I should be able to get it next Saturday. So probably be up to Mahoney's next week.
Second and third place?
Not that yet. And I've never worried about second and third place. It's always,
It'll come.
yeah.
It'll be here.
Well, one of the prizes will be a rookie that can bring in.
And again, that's worth the price of admission, for God's sake. That is such a nice time. Martina. Everybody, this is my oldest daughter from South Carolina, Martina. She looks nothing like me. I don't know why she even considered mine. But she is my spitting image. I love her to death. Did you have a good time down at the beach? Was it not a blast the entire time? They met some boys. So, of course, my first conversation with the boys was, I am armed and I am not scared to use it. At all whatsoever. Martina, what was my first conversation with them? Did I not tell them that? I said, if you don't want to lose a big toe, don't be stupid. Because I won't hesitate to shoot some boy's little toe off. Boogie, did you have a good time?
Oh, yeah.
All right, without any further ado, is for the first time, and I don't know why we haven't asked him to come here, Mr. Matt Stafford is going to be our speaker. And if you want to know anything about fishing, the bait, the where, the when, he's about like Mahoney. He'll almost give you the exact spot. But if you guys have any questions about what bait to use, especially now that grouper's in season, amberjack went into season today, the mangrove snapper, the yellowtail snapper, red grouper, right now is the prime time for fishing. If you guys have a question, this is your man, Mr. Matt Stafford from T.A. Mahoney Company.
All right, well, I thought you were letting me off the hook.
Well, see, it's about like in my family, because I'm kind of overshadowed by my larger brother, and then my other Marine brother, so it's kind of getting left out, so don't feel bad. I'm right there
That's
with
all
you.
right.
The last to know.
How you doing, everybody? Matt Stafford, T.A. Mahoney Company. Been with them 17 years as of 4th of July. This is my brother Brett, runs the shop for us. He's been with us 12 years. So to give you an idea, we've been around a little bit, almost 30 between the two of us. A little quick history on T.A. Mahoney Company. The original owner, Mr. Mahoney, I would say. You've met Mike Mahoney, been his grandfather. He actually had an old truck that he cleaned up, painted, and sold. And with that money, he bought hardware store items. These hardware store items which fed the downtown port area. I mean brooms, shovels, rakes, this type of thing. But one thing led to another where these guys would ask for a particular marine paint or a marine item, and those guys would go out and find it. Well, as evolution has turned, we're now more marine than we are anything. Of course, when I started 17 years ago, and we have some longtime customers here that could say this, we sold toilet rebuild kits, hard hats, visqueen,
Channel locks.
all kinds of tools and everything, which stuff didn't move, and again, we kind of evolved more and more marine. That we didn't even have a shop or really do any repairs. They would do some trailer stuff, kind of busted knuckle repairs, no real torch and tools and stuff like that. But one of the first jobs that, boat-wise, that they did was a favor for my aunt. They redid my grandfather's 1960 Boston whaler. And they took all the teak wood out and redid everything and put it back together. They didn't even do that at the time. And I think Mike Mahoney was like, we could probably make some money doing this. Of course, the new location was, you know, a blessing in disguise from the old location downtown. Quite frankly, when I was a kid, that place scared me. Made noises, there was things running around that probably shouldn't have been running around. It was cherished, and I wish I had $1 for every time a customer who has said, I missed the old store and I went in there, I couldn't find anything, and Bob or Tom Mahoney would go back, move 4 boxes out of the way, dust something off, and have exactly what we needed. I still remember 5 or 6 years ago, Bob Mahoney was helping a customer, and a customer wanted this brass cleat we had, and it had some writing on it. And from the other side of the store, I heard Bob say, you know, that's my father's writing on that cleat, I can tell. That'd be vintage 1948. Mr. Mahoney only was with us for a couple of years after the business got going. And then his wife, Ann Mahoney, and Bob Mahoney and Tom Mahoney basically ran the business and built it up to where it was today. Anybody got any questions on that?
I want to add that we have since redone that Boston Whaler again.
Again.
At Mahoney's.
Again. We have
to
pictures
a modern Boston Whaler today.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
60s model Whaler still floating today.
Just one question, Matt. What's the biggest rat you ever killed in that store?
The new store,
The old store. There was some monsters.
the old store, I wasn't an employee. I was a
Oh,
customer
okay.
in those days. But I could, you know, from being a younger man, I could hear them running around, and I imagine they were record. I imagine they were record
Oh,
size.
yeah. There were some monsters in there.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
They
I can
probably
only
like
imagine.
Nutria.
Yeah, unreal size.
Kids would come in and they'd run up the road, or down the road, they'd run over y'all's
Yeah.
place.
Oh, yeah.
You see it come across the street, they look like daggum raccoons, man.
Amazing. Well, that was when a lot of bananas were coming in too in those days, right?
Banana
Yeah.
box there.
Basically, I want to talk about trailer maintenance, guys. Who's, by chance, checked their air pressure recently? Their tires? Okay, I'm pretty good. Do we know actually what's supposed to be in there?
Whatever it said on the tire.
Atta boy, right there.
It said on the tire.
The secret to good tire maintenance, believe it or not, and longevity, is good air pressure. And it changes through the air temperature, so you got to check that. How about bearings?
You just fixed mine.
Yes, sir, thank you very much. Of course, I didn't think I knew you were a club member at that time. You need to remind me of that because we offer discounts for the club. Obviously, and I'll go into that real quick, electronics are very thin margin, trolling motors, electronics, trailers, these kind of things are kind of thin margin. There's a lot of things we can help out on, so please, be proud. Tell us you're with the Southshore Anglers, all right?
Yes, please.
I do.
Please do, please do.
Every time. Put my name in the computer.
Absolutely. All right, here's the deal. Trailer bearings, cheap, inexpensive, peace of mind. We sell brand new hubs, in some cases pre-packed, so you have an ease of putting them in, at $40 or less. 25 to 40 bucks is a brand new hub with bearings. Inexpensive, fairly easy to do, and we can walk you through it. But here's something I want you guys to do more often than not. You know, when we go to time to go fishing, let's put that boat in water, go, 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 let's get out there. But that's the key time to really look at that trailer because the boat's not on there. Plus it tells us some things. Leaf springs, when the boat's not on the trailer, how they tell you they're getting weak, they start to separate, they start to fan out. Easy to see versus climbing up underneath it to give it an inspection when the boat's not on it. So don't be the one in the boat waiting. Every now and again, you go up there and take a look. Give it a walk around. I think the last time we went and looked at mine, you know, the bolts were out of the boards.
Bump boards, ready to come off.
Probably would have backed it in, board would have floated, put it on and scratched the boat. But we caught it. So give it a minute. Take a good look at it. Check your trailer lights. Anybody check their trailer lights?
Every time I plug them in. Every time I plug them in.
I mean, everybody should know, you know, one trip from the tow truck would have redone virtually the whole undercarriage. You know, especially a single axle. I'm talking springs, axle, hubs, just to get home and a ruined fishing day.
It's true.
You know, so
Tire wear. Take a look at your tire, guys. Wear it in the center, a little too much air. Wear it on the outside corners, not enough air. Give you a good indication of what we got going on. We got total inside wear, real bad cupping inside. We could have a damaged axle. Could be bent. You know, a lot of us are guilty of putting all the stuff in the boat and running down the road. And I'll tell you, the roads in this town, you know why they're all being worked on? Because they need it. You know, you take that boat's weight and you pick it up and pound it down, you know, you're intensifying everything. You know, it's like jumping on a can. You know, you crushing. So take a look at those things. And guys, you can bring the trailer by, got a question, bounce, we'll look at it any time, Obviously, we're a service center for that kind of stuff, and feel free to do that. Anybody got any questions regarding trailers, trailer maintenance?
What about brakes? Like if you can't afford whatever the nice ones are, I forget what they call them, but
Disc.
Huh?
Disc brakes.
Disc
Yeah,
brakes are a little bit
I know
more.
they sell some that are like rust resistant. I know none of them
Yeah.
are perfectly rust, but
Yeah.
some of them are really expensive. I mean, that's
You
one of the
basically have
biggest
three
issues.
sets of brakes. You have a Dacromat, which is coated, okay? And you have stainless and Dacromat, and then you have all stainless. We're getting good life out of the stainless working mechanism, the caliper, and the Dacromat rotor, okay? We sell it for about $400 an axle. All right, you have a warranty with that. And I think it was last year, we changed somebody's brake pads out, and I sell this off of that. We put them on in January of '06 for the customer, and he brought it in last year in mid-2012, which used to, if you got anything outside of 2 years for brakes, you were doing pretty good. We had to put I think it was a $60 rotor on, and a $40 set of pads, and so it was two $60 rotors. But because the working mechanism was still good, we didn't have to re-bleed everything. So he was a couple hours labor, which is $150, and about the same in parts. So he was $300 and good to go.
Virtually all new brakes, because you put new rotors on, new pads, it's a stainless caliper. It's like doing a brake job on your pickup truck at that particular point. And all of us have done that.
I was wondering if anybody else had this problem, because I don't typically pull my boat stays on the lift, but I have a trailer that I want a trailer, so maybe once every 3 months I'll get out there and get it. And I've had problems before where my brakes have actually seized the disc on it because of the rust and all that.
Sure.
I give you the
It's
tip right
locked it
now.
up.
Make sure that coupler is pulled out, because it's the biggest habit that we all do is we back up and you're like, you're done. You unhook it and you go. Well, it's compressed. That's how it is. It's a surge coupler. So with that being pushed in, you just basically
Locked it in place.
left it
Right.
locked.
Yeah.
Where you could, I'm not gonna tell you to chock the wheels. You can grab it with your hand and
Sure,
pull
yeah.
that.
Okay, so just that.
And there's
I know
grease
what you're
points.
talking about, yeah.
There's grease points on that coupler.
Yep. And you literally just pull it up.
Just to take some of that.
I mean, if you thought it moved, it was enough.
Gotcha.
Because gotta fix that.
And the brakes are hydraulically compressed, but they're a friction open. And what Brett has found out after beating his head against the wall on all these brake problems, the shafts that this stuff ride on will get a little corrosion, get a little pitting on them. So he'll take them apart and do a light sand and then lubricate those shafts so they pull off free. And that has a lot to do with it. When it comes off in binds, it doesn't come all the way out, so we wear the pads out, we might scar a rotor,
Yep.
it costly on it. So, and I usually keep him in the back, working to a couple of guys in the community, but anytime you need to speak to him, we can get you to him. I try to get him working the floor on Saturdays, which is a big retail day for us, and he's pretty much invaluable not to have on the floor. He gets 1 or 2 Saturdays off a year, pretty much tops. But he's definitely one of my main guys.
It's not good.
Yes. If you guys got problems or questions over the week, he's definitely the go-to guy on that. Coming to you, Mr. Clark? Coming to you. Yes, sir.
The torsion bar versus spring, what do you prefer?
Torsion axles.
No doubt.
Torsion axles. We encourage anybody, and again, we make a lot more money building in the shop than we do selling a trailer, like 10%. We encourage anybody that's time to buy a new trailer, shell out a little bit more money, get you a torsion axle, get you stainless hardware. You'll get that money back 2 or 3 times versus backing it up in the shop and us going through and replacing some rusty hardware, and some springs. And then again in 2 to 5 years, and then again in 2 to 5
And
years.
nearly every trailer manufacturer will offer what we call a POP package, premium option package. That'll usually be LED lights, stainless steel hardware, be it on just the bump brackets and where it's mounted, the U-bolts on the frame. Because
300 to 500 more depending on the trailer.
yeah, and obviously, and all you guys after having this conversation, you go home and you look at your trailer and you're gonna be like, ooh, look at that U-bolt, ooh,
I'm going to continue your question, Mr. Clark, and going like this. We can generally make any trailer a torsion axle trailer, okay? I don't recommend it unless all the hardware is gone. Springs are very reasonable. $25 to $35 on average cost of spring. bolts are $1, shackles are $1.50. Not expensive components. You got to be kind of handy. Some nice tools are kind of, nice torches, fire wrenches we call them. I don't help any buddies with saws anymore. Those days are long gone. Fire wrench only if I'm gonna help somebody. But if the bracketry that holds all the springs and stuff on, or what we call a slider assembly, when that's gone and the springs are gone, the axle's questionable, that's a good time to make the move. Average torsion bar axle runs 375 to 4 1/4. A 3,500 pound galvanized axles, 150 to 175, hubs are 70, springs are another 60. So you can see you're not too far off if all that stuff needs to be replaced. That get you, Mr. Clark?
That's what I got torsion bar, that's what I went with.
That's it? Yes, sir. Go ahead, my man.
I too, 2 years ago, went to a torsion axle from Loadmaster after spending every weekend at your place fixing my old trailer.
I recognize.
And my question to you guys is the portion of the torsion axle, not the hub or anything like that, but where it's connected and where it swivels. Is there anything that you guys recommend doing to that to kind of prolong the life there?
That is pressed in, so there's not much you can really do there. Single axle trailer?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I went 2 years, I didn't have a single problem. I still took it back to Loadmaster, let them do a once over, put some new bearings on it, and it was cheap. It was like $150.
Yeah.
It's done in a day.
Sure.
And that was 2 years.
Yeah, I would recommend you go through your hubs once a year, depending on use, twice a year if you're excessively using it.
Yeah.
And remember, Loadmaster's a great company. They're our preferred trailer brand, but with your discount, we might be able to save you a little bit of money. Okay.
Fresh water.
Yeah.
Fresh water. Anything you can do?
Yeah.
Fresh water.
Brett just hit on a very key point. Again, we put the boat in the water, we put the trailer, go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. You can use a facility with fresh water. You dip that trailer in the water, and just go there and quickly hose it off, get that salt water off. It's much better for the longevity of the trailer. Biggest damage done to the trailer, the salt's crystallized to that metal for that 6, 8, 10 hours. We're out there. Now it doesn't just wash off. It has to be washed or pressure washed off. So if you can use a facility that has fresh water, you're going to stretch your longevity out.
Tires. Besides the Goodyear Marathon, what do you guys recommend for good tires?
We sell in-house brand. It's a private label. It's an H188. We have good luck. In my 17 years, you'll stay with a tire until you start having some problems and you'll move in. Goodyear quality tire, we haven't had the best luck over the last 5 years with them.
Is that right?
I've got another tire, has the same footprint, the same look. If you didn't know, you wouldn't know. Goodyear's, we had a problem with them coming apart. And I'll tell you, a belted tire, steel belted tire will do some damage when it comes apart. We prefer bias ply tires. They don't seem to do as much damage. Although people that pull long distances and quick like radial tires. The only downside to bias, in my opinion, in the winter months, it's been sitting a little bit. The cold temperatures, they flat spot. So they're kind of rough till they get heated up and level off. Anybody who's driven a big truck or heavy equipment that's sat for a while has kind of experienced that bone shattering shake. But, yeah, Goodyear probably now is the best tire you can buy. That company's gonna get things straightened out and go for sure. But like a Loadmaster trailer, they're factory radial tires. They're trying to build the best trailer they can. I don't know what brand they use. I'm embarrassed to say, but I know it's out of the box radial tires, no options.
When it comes to the lights on your trailer, because they're always the first thing to go on the trailer, always. Is there a specific light that's better than the other? And does it truly help if you unplug your lights from the truck when you go to back it down into the water? Like some people sit there and say you should unplug your lights and the whole
I don't
nine.
think you should have to.
Either
okay, but a lot of people like to do that. I think the biggest fallacy with trailer lights is all the distilled metals everything's built to, and then counting on the trailer to be the ground. We've come up with some very creative things. Brett's got my trailer rigged up, and we run independent grounds on all the lights.
All the way up.
And it's amazing how bright a marker light will actually burn if it has a legitimate ground. Now, it's time consuming to do that, but we can do that for you, or we can walk you through it.
Is the LED lights better than your regular standard whatever light?
I've been fighting it. In the day they first came out, we had 80 pair, we sent 79 back. Now, it's not like that anymore. It's preferred. And Brett and I have talked, the next set of lights we put on my boat, which is really our boat, because he does all the work on it, thankfully, we're probably going to put some LED lights on. I was a guy for years that put the cleat on lights on. You can't work for T.A. Mahoney Company, run cleat-on lights, portable lights. You gotta have trailer lights, you know what I mean? We have a T.A. Mahoney image to uphold, so I can't do that kind of stuff. I like those, but
I do believe that it is better to unplug, because if there's no power going through it, because every time there's a problem with your light, you could almost bank on it being in the ground. And if there was not power running through it right then, that couldn't attack that ground quite the same. So I really do think that that would be a nice, simple way for everybody to get, I mean, is it 5 more trips? Maybe? But 5 more trips, we'd all take that without having to mess with this lights one more time. Yeah.
yes, sir.
Hey, Matt, back when you said that you ground out every light on your trailer, it is always ground, it's always a problem. My other question is, what kind of taillights do you use, or what kind of taillight lasts the longest on a boat trailer? Like every 2 years, I have to replace mine.
There's
Or
some
turn out,
sealed-
short it out.
There's some sealed lights, and then there's some lights, and I can never remember the technique called. It's called a I want to say belle fouche or belle fouche, but it's basically what it is. And I'm sorry I don't have the right terminology. It's like holding a cup upside down and putting it in the water. The air traps it.
An air gap.
Yeah, it's an air gap. And these lights are reasonable at $12 to $15 a light, and the inserts are replaceable for about $6. It comes with a bulb. So we have pretty good luck with those. Matter of fact, in the day when I bought my boat new, Mike Mahoney and I fished probably 4 or 5 nights a week together to Alify, because those days we can keep big snook, and we just wanted to catch as many big snook as we can. Those lights lasted almost 2 years without a replacement, dipping it that much. And I can tell you guys, coming in at 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, that trailer didn't get rinsed off like it should have, to be honest with you.
Do you reckon that amount on the trailer or doing the lights on the guides, the guides on the side?
I think the guide poles help keeping it, but I think it's a little overrated. You got to do some things depending on the guide pole, okay, to make it work. Most of us have metal poles with PVC slid over. Well, you mount a light on that, and you touch your trailer up against it, it spins and breaks the wire. So now we got to pin it off. Now we've drilled into our guide on. It's a rust point. You know what I mean? So there's pros and cons.
Okay. Last question. What's the best way to do is there a waterproof wire-to-wire connection under the water that you know of?
Heat shrink butt connectors, best thing since sliced bread. And we have ones that we call step downs. You know, occasionally you got to jump in for your marker light.
Right.
So it's got a bigger hole on one side than the other. So we put 2 wires in and 1 wire coming out, crimped and heat shrink down.
Good heat shrink on top. You could slide heat shrink on top. You know, before you make that connection, you could put some heat shrink connector, let it cool for a second, slide it over and be over redundant, and it never hurts, because every crimper, every connection that you make on your boat, and you're like, hey, I'm using my heat shrink butt connectors. Well, you have to know that your crimpers there's a spot that has a dimple in it, and then there's a spot that it's smooth. Well, if you go right to that dimple and you use that spot on your crimper, you just permeated the barrier that's going to make it non-heat shrink.
Can't get too aggressive with a heat shrink connector because you'll cut the coating and then let the moisture in from that point.
So I mean, we've all done it. I've done it myself. I might have done it to one of y'all's boats. I mean, you're trying to crimp it. I didn't. You got me. No, you have to put it in the right spot, and you have to crimp it there, and you have to check your fitting, make sure you have good contact, because right there is like it's the biggest mistake with a heat shrink butt connector. Is you're like, oh yeah, look at there, and you're like, I'm gonna make sure this joker is gonna have good contact, and it does. But you broke the plastic, which now you're like, why is this getting green? Why is my connectors green? I just did this bait pump or this light just 2 months ago. And if you hit it and break that plastic, you just started
I tell everybody, Brett's probably done a million crimps in the 12 years he's worked with us. It's the only thing we do in the shop is heat shrink connectors. We're not going to do anything less. Because I tell people to put your crimper on there, touch it, grab the wire, make sure it's just not loose in there, and you're good. You're good, because the heat shrink, the silicone that comes around the end, it's going to hold it from there. Any more questions on trailers, guys? And we can revisit that. Everybody got a fuel water separator in their boat.
What?
A fuel water separator. So it's a filter system.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Somebody always gets clogged up with the rubber.
If you don't, well, that's a hose. That's a ethanol hose issue
Right.
there. Fuel water separators, guys, should be standard equipment, okay? $27, $26.99, get you a system ready to go. Replacement filter's about $7, if I'm not mistaken. $6.99, $7.99.
Must have.
Everybody uses their boat a lot, some more, some less. We recommend putting a Sharpie on there with the date. Just so you know, 3 or 4 months, get that thing off of there. Ethanol is a major problem. Use a stabilizer. Stuff's not expensive. Find it anywhere.
Especially now where they increased ethanol, they're allowed to put.
They're still cruising.
They're
It's
still
getting
cruising.
higher and higher.
It was 10%. What they're trying to get it to 20.
And
15.
E15. E15.
I'll assure you this, as long as the first presidential primary is in Iowa, they're gonna try to put more ethanol in the mix.
Absolutely. I mean, you can understand why everybody's doing it. But that separator, and like Matt just said, you write the date on it, and you're like, you can buy the most fancy separators, and they're great. You know, and they have a bowl, and you can see it in there and drain it off and all that. But what I've noticed is doing is making people go, ooh, I just paid $35 for that, you know, and they're not changing the filter. Now, I keep having this water problem. You get the lesser expensive filter, write your date on it, you look at it, when we're doing our stuff, you say, man, it's been 6 months since I've done my filter. $5, we're talking, that's half the price of a mirror lure, guys. You know what I'm saying?
Good one.
You know, so get it on
Have
there.
I've heard both. As far as your tank, is it better for the ethanol issue? Is it better to run it down low and refill it more less often, or is it better
I want to
when
keep
it
it
gets
at a
down?
topped off form.
Well, I know that,
Yeah.
but
Captain Bob Mahoney explained to me that a 70-gallon fuel tank, half full of fuel, depending on the time of year, especially now,
Yeah.
can generate up to a quart of water a week.
Wow.
But I don't know if I answered your question.
you did.
Please.
I guess what I'm saying is, if you're full, is it better to run it down to a quarter of a tank and then refill it? Or is it better to get to a half and refill it? Or is there
I
any?
don't think it matters as long as you're using a
getting
stabilizer
it
or
through it.
ethanol-free fuel. I don't think it really matters. It's probably a little easier on the pocketbook to fill it up on a
Oh,
regular
yes.
basis versus not as painful.
So you think the stabilizers do work?
Oh,
Yes. Yes. We sell a wide range of them, and all of them work. I've used them personally. I do think the Century product is the best.
This is the stabilizer you're talking about?
Century,
Century?
it's like $9 for 20 gallons, $29 for 80. I think it's well worth it. Anybody has a diesel, especially a Ford, stuff works great. There's a diesel product for it. I got my Seaclaw anchor guy, every time he's there, buys a big container for his truck. Raves about how much better it is.
Now, is the water problem more so with ethanol versus non-ethanol? Is that
Ethanol reverts to back to its natural state, which is water.
so you put non-ethanol in, you don't have it?
Not as bad, no. There's a lot of pros that use marina gas just to avoid the downtime from mechanics.
You still will get water though. If you're leaving your tank half empty or whatever, it's condensate.
Right.
Will build just as well. And that was when I started. Ethanol wasn't in there. I mean, of course, right now, that could be the topic at our front counter all day long. Water in my fuel, water, ethanol, my fuel line. It is making some mechanics happy. I'll put it to you that way. So, but what I had always heard was to keep the tank full. If you can keep it full, less condensation. And it's just a reverse thinking. We all go, oh, we got to get some gas to go to the water. Well, if our boat was already full, we would just go right to the water and we just gas up on the way home. But, it's hard. It's hard to change our habits, but that's...
Sure.
So older boats probably don't have a fuel separator in them.
No boat comes out of the factory with one, and I'm disappointed by
Well,
that.
that's something we can do when you break to the
Yes,
shop.
sir. No, you can do it very easily. They come with a multi-head port, a multi-port head, which has 2 ins and 2 outs. And that's so you can come in and out, in and out. The kits come with hose barbs, thread locker, and knockoff points to you because you got to close 2 of them up. And you just are coming, it's fuel tank, filter, primer ball, engine.
You're nearly just making a cut in your line and installing this
Does it
piece.
sit in the line or do you have to attach it to the wall of the boat or something?
Bulkhead, transom, yes.
Because it looks just like your oil filter in your truck. So it would mount like anywhere that you could through bolt or good spot to screw it to. Because you will have to be putting a grip.
Obviously, you want it in a spot that you can easily change the filter.
Easily.
Does anybody know where to buy the, I do, to buy the non-ethanol?
I know that there's a store down the street from us on the Causeway, there's a Sunoco,
Yeah.
that sells ethanol-free fuel.
Correct. And there's one at the corner of 78th Street and Riverview Drive.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you're gonna pay $4.59,
Right.
but I've just did my friend's boat twice for the ethanol issues. Gray core filter, the whole 9 yards, throwing away 100 gallons of gas because he's got a problem. So it might be worth your time to look at.
Absolutely.
Has anybody heard of that new mobile boat? Gas? This guy who drives around.
Yeah.
He's reasonable.
He
Yeah.
is very reasonable.
He's
That's
reasonable.
where I've been getting my gas. And he'll come right to your house.
Come to the house and
And
pump it up.
he's got a 500-foot hose on it.
Yeah.
Takes it right down to your
Mike
dock.
Mahoney's
Fills
used
it right
them
up.
in
Ethanol
Anna
free.
Maria.
450 a gallon.
Mobile gas.
That's great.
It
Mobile
comes to
boat.
you.
Yep.
What's the name again? What's the name?
Mobile boat gas.
Mobile boat gas.
Dad, break that name down. We need him as a sponsor.
Here's something, guys, anybody with a boat that's 7 to 10 years old, the fuel lines haven't been replaced, the ethanol is eating it up. Little pieces of black stuff are coming through and clogging things. Get that fuel line replaced in the boat. It's not
Are they
that
gonna come up
expensive.
with a better fuel line for us?
Yes,
I mean,
all the fuel lines that are being sold right now, you're saving.
okay.
You're saving. Also, here's something for you guys. Anybody check the age or know the age of their bilge pump?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The hard way.
You know, this is something else we like to do, especially for our repeat customers. Yeah, we've got it on the computer, but we want that customer to be able to look down at his bilge and see a date. Brett's putting a Sharpie on them and dating the time they're putting it in. I have some customers that just don't care. Every other year they want new pumps and they don't care that it's working. You know, but check that stuff. If it's getting old, don't let it ruin a day fishing. Same way with a bait pump. You know, try to carry a spare. A lot of them are portable, removable cartridges anymore. And when all possible, we keep all the pumps in the boat similar GPHs. One cartridge will do it. Anybody got any questions on the boat?
I'm having a speaker in my center console right in front of the compass, and now everywhere I go, it says I'm heading north.
The magnet's pulling it out.
You nincompoop.
Didn't even think about it.
Yeah, the magnet's pulling it out. Sorry.
I figured that out, but
Yeah,
I
you need to
figured
try.
I figured the compass was a little bit antiquated anyway, so I don't care.
We saw him out there going around in circles.
You can sit there and talk about USF all you want to. That's USF education at its finest right there.
A fog come rolling in, nighttime, man. I mean, compass is a pretty serious thing. Every boat should have it. Every boat should have it. I got one for you here, guys. Super great fishing lines, great stuff. I use it. Not everybody does the ethical thing and keeps it, you know, when they have a knot, pull it off, put it in their pocket, put it in a trash bin, they throw it on a boat, whatever it gets out. You run through that, not even knowing. It gets around your prop, wraps around your prop shaft, cuts the seal. And I can tell you from experience, the lower unit's only gonna run so long on water. It's gonna seize up as hard as it can, okay? And usually that happens, again, when you get your opportunity to go fishing. Pull your prop pretty regularly. Look up on that shaft. Make sure you don't see any line wrapped up in there. If you do, get it out of there. Drop your oil. Make sure we don't have any water in there. It's gonna look really milky. Gear oil's not that expensive. A couple, 2-3 times a year, replace it, just see what's going on. Clean that prop shaft, put a little grease on there, that way that prop doesn't get seized on there.
Check the hub.
If your prop has been on for a long period of time, get it off there, get that thing clean, and get some grease on there. We use wheel bearing grease, Marine Corrosion Control wheel bearing grease, just so it doesn't seize on there. You're dealing with some different metals, stainless, brass, you know what I mean? So you can get some dissimilar metal reactions. So get some grease on there.
That's really good. 'Cause that'll keep you out of the water for a while.
I've never taken a prop off. Is it
Not too complicated. What motor you got?
E10 150?
E-Tech's got a couple of thrust washers on the back, depending on the motor you got. Just take the pieces off, you know, slowly. You should have a castle nut with a cotter pin. Pull the cotter pin, pull the castle nut off.
Right.
You know, you should be able to slide the prop off. And there could be 2 thrust washers. Sometimes get stuck to the back of the prop. So just make sure as you're pulling the stuff off, it goes back on. I'm sure you could jump on with Evinrude and get a breakdown on their website on what all is supposed to go back together. I know Tom Mahoney used a local guy to do some service work on his. One of the thrust washers didn't go back on, cost a $3,500 gear case. So yeah,
And while you're doing it, check the prop hub.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, trust me, I found it.
Back, one thing to trailers, I missed something, lug nuts, guys. Pull the lug nuts off and put them back on every now and again. You need to retorque them every now and again. 500?
90 pounds.
90 pounds. 90 pounds is the torque spec on them. By pulling on, lug nuts are 59 cents. They're not expensive. If it doesn't look like a nut, you got to get it off there. You're going to have a problem and be stuck on the side of the road. Also, if you do some long distance travel, you can change a tire with a hub quicker than you can change a tire on a hub. Well, think about it. 5 rusted lug nuts. Well, behind that grease cap is one well-greased nut. You got a spare tire with a hub mounted to it. You pull that cap out of the way. You pull the cotter pin or the tab washer, back them off. You slide the whole tire and hub on, tighten it back up, and you're going. Versus standing there still fighting that 3rd or 4th rusted lug nut. So be prepared for that. You know the rule. You got the spare tire, you got the spare bearings and hubs, you're probably not going to have a problem. It's an insurance policy.
Same breath. If anybody here has aluminum mags on their wheels, okay, they're beautiful, look good. They tend to have dissimilar metal issue with the hubs. They want to stay stuck to the hub. So if you get them off, I'd like to see some bearing grease on there. Same thing, cap over lug nuts. They appear to be, you're like, oh, I got deep well lug nuts, I'll never have a problem. If you see a dash of rust on that thing, it's probably not stainless steel solid lug
Ranger,
nut.
notorious for their aluminum rims, galvanized hubs, and then that center cap corrodes in there. You can't get the tire separated from the hub.
Sledgehammer.
Big one. Sometimes they come off, sometimes they don't. But what Brett would do is he'd paint a little bearing grease on the hub face, so when it touches, there's a bearing.
What about the stainless steel lug nut?
Stainless steel lug nuts are the way to go. On my boat, I run a solid cap over stainless steel lug nut, and we've been using this super waterproof grease. And I was a guy that, I fish some in Tampa Bay, but a lot in the Boca Grande areas where I prefer to fish. We have a little family vacation home down there, so it's kind of a nice little getaway. So I would put a whole new set of hubs on my tandem axle trailer every year. 5, 6, maybe even 7 years. I wish I'd have documented better. I'm sure I can go back into my sales history when I bought them with this high-end waterproof grease and these stainless steel cap over lug nuts. The threads don't corrode.
Yeah,
They're sealed up.
when it's a deep well lug nut, what you have is you have every spot on a thread, you have a thread in there, so there's no room for rust and corrosion to get in there. So as you take the lug nut off, the whole stud is clean.
Sure.
When you have just a small little lug nut, like we all put on, it's just like what I would have put on your trailer, the stud is on the outside, it's rusting. So now that lug nut, you'll get 3 turns, and then all of a sudden it's packed full of rust on the way off, and it just makes that much harder to get it off. I mean, you might snap some easier with your 4-way than you're going to get that lug nut all the way off. I'm going to just bind up.
Any questions, guys?
Maintenance.
That's it. All right. Apparently, I've given some tips for this redfish tournament that has been productive. I'll tell anybody where I know fish or what I hear fish are going on. This tournament last year, I gave out 2 tips to a couple of guys. One was fish underneath the Gandy Bridge with crab on the bottom. I would kick that up 1 notch and say not just crabs, throw some chunk ladyfish out there too. It's a scent thing. Get it on the bottom and wait it out. Favorite beverage, hang on. In the shade. Get up underneath the shade, and I think that's where the fish are looking at. Also, from Apollo Beach south to Simmons Park, you got a big flat out there. All right, it's real shallow up tight. You have a bar, a trough, and a bar. Get in between the 2 bars, lots of chummers. Throw a handful of chummers out every now and again. Get a couple baits out there, and I'd also throw some dead bait out there as well. Ladyfish is a chunk of ladyfish. 3-aught hook, throw it out there. I hate to say it, guys, and everybody here is a good fishing person. The rod holder is the best fisherman on the boat, guaranteed. Put it in the rod holder and wait for the rod to bend over.
I know 2 years ago that's how.
Yeah, absolutely. I've caught some of my biggest fish out of the rod hole.
I've witnessed that.
I can concur.
Yeah.
What's the name? All over the rock.
Isn't that great? So
Anybody got any questions there?
On that cut bait, are you putting any kind of weight on that, or just? the
Generally
weight?
not. Generally not. Now, I've done it with a jig head or a live bait hook. Your preference. Wind's up and the cast is hard, you're gonna use a chunk of bait. You know what I mean? If it's potholes, I may use a jig head. If it's grass, I'm probably gonna just throw it on a hook, because I don't want it to sink down into it. Although the smell, they're gonna come and get it. But I think you could probably foul hook if it's deep down in the grass. You know what I mean by a jig head? Until I figured it out, I may use one of both. Until I got bit pretty good.
That's why you take half a dozen rods with you.
that's it.
I'm not afraid to change one out. I don't know, I get my buddies are bad about that, so I carry 2 rods. I fish with 2 rods.
Where's your favorite ladyfish hole?
You know, man, drift the flats, get you a little jig head and go, you know? Just work them. You know, you should find some. I mean, pinfish work, you know, chunks of pinfish. You know, that'll work too. But ladyfish is a real oily fish. That's what we use the shark fish with, is half a ladyfish.
I was up there off of Simmons Park where you just mentioned, and it had 6 ladyfish last Sunday.
Perfect.
They're there.
And they don't have to be a lot. You know, I mean, you can throw them in the live well if you want. You can throw them on the floor of the boat. You know, you just need 1 or 2. You don't need a whole mess of them. Yes, sir.
Larger white bait, you finding it yet? Or is that
I tell you, I haven't had a whole lot of time to be out there.
Everything's killing my net.
What I'm hearing, it's on that 3rd hatch right now. I think you're gonna have to get deep. Range markers, skyway,
Sabiki.
Yeah.
right out of
that's-
Big Pass.
But I'm getting sabiki, I'm just getting greenback. I mean,
Yeah, hog baits.
Jim,
Yeah.
don't you have a tip for the small bait?
Right outside of Big Pass, guys, just north of Cockroach. Y'all know where I'm talking about?
yeah.
There's a group of range markers. You need a 1/2 inch, 1 inch stretch net. You got a bottom machine, mark them up, throw the net. Let it get down close, back them up. You should see some medium-sized baits in there.
Friends don't get teaser rings.
I'll tell you what I know on grouper and snapper, guys. Grouper have been biting good. Mike Mahoney's crushing them. Y'all listen to the radio show, you're hearing. Eating pretty good at the house. It's the best part of my job is he'll want me to work 6 days a week to give me some fresh fish to stay there. Trolling plugs. You know, ripping them with those stretch 30s. Not any color, something big and flashy. Monday caught a 12-pounder. It was the only fish he caught, but a 12-pound grouper in 45 feet of water, 7 miles from shore is not bad.
Major breakups, though, I think.
Yeah. They caught an 80-pound Goliath a couple weeks ago, trolling.
Matt,
Trolling?
Troll.
Dave, me, and Alyssa went out. We trolled for what? 3 hours? At least 4 hours? I had number 3 planters out. We were trolling the channel from the skyway up. And we were beating the heck out of the head of that plug.
Yeah.
We didn't get 1 bite.
Yeah, they're there. Actually, a
Not
couple
holding
weeks
your mouth
ago,
right.
Mike came inside, and I'll get, next time you're through, I'll have Mike spend a minute with you too. David Paul, who works with us, who Mike fishes out of his boat. He was there as well. He's got some spots inside. A couple weeks ago that it was too windy to be offshore, and he was entertaining some out-of-town guests. They caught 5. 3 were keepers inside the bay.
We need to talk.
Yeah. And you know Mike, he'll tell you. He'll grab the product off the shelf and go, "This is what I use." And you can go to the back and see his equipment. It's tied on.
Look at your cylinder.
Well, and it was right after our last meeting that we had. We went out that, what, Saturday?
Saturday or Sunday.
Saturday, and we were bouncing on the rocks.
Yeah, no, if you're not hitting bottom, you know, you're not getting on. But here's,
The head of the jig.
what was the tide?
We had,
Here, and you know, I'll go to the short answer on that. Slack tide. If the tide's moving, those fish will not eat off those rocks. They won't come up. They don't feel they have a chance to get it with the current moving. So you want a slack to the end and just before the beginning. So plan your trolling around those time frames. Especially if it's a big moving tide. They'll see it, they won't go after it. I know big hand-sized pinfish at the rock piles at the Skyway and grouper sticks. I mean, be prepared, because you may get, pulled in, pulled down, whatever. Any questions, guys?
I use the number 2 planer with a big bucktail jig head and the 3-inch or the 6-inch gulp. What's worked, but it hasn't worked as well as others. If you could pick a color, what color would it be of the gulp 6-inch with the curly tail?
It really depends on the water color. Pink glitters, green glitters, white.
The Gulf only comes in two colors.
Yeah.
It comes in pink and glow.
Pink.
But you're talking about gold.
I don't use gulps for that, but pink or glow should work. I put one of each out. Something gets bit, I may drop both sides. Number 2 is a little small. Most people pull a number 3. Unless you're using super braid line, and that number 2 may get down to the 3.
That's all I use is that.
They're
All
getting
I use
that
when I
10
troll.
extra feet out of that braid.
Yeah, when I troll, that's all I use is my braid. I don't even use mono when I troll. So, but no, I did 2 weekends ago. I went out and we did pretty good on them.
Good.
With number 2, and I wasn't even in the middle. I was right along the side. I was in about 35 feet of
Yeah,
water.
that's where you want to be.
Yep.
Right up along the sides of these little ponds.
Yep.
And I believe in the gulp bait. I think it's a reactionary bite. I don't think it has to be a gulp. I think they're seeing it. Gulp is scented, and I've always, why are you casting or retrieving a scented bait? The gulp bait was, believe it or not, designed to be dead stick. What they mean by just throwing out there, setting the rod over, wait for something to come by. That's an expensive bait. It's a good bait. I wouldn't deny it by any means. I don't know if you need it. You know what I mean? It's working. Keep it up. I wouldn't change that. Anybody else? Anybody got